Alrighty, welcome in to another episode of Getting Technical, brought to you by Better and Green. Wyatt, first weekend in the books of March Madness. Weird first weekend, I think. I've been pretty vocal on Twitter about it. You and I have talked basically all weekend long. I think we're pretty much on the same page, but silver lining, Michigan State, both in the Sweet 16 once again, second year in a row for both teams. So have some good matchups coming up. In the Sweet 16, what looks to be good matchups in the Elite Eight, and really the rest of the way in this tournament. But just wanted to get together here. We're going to run through the rest of the bracket, go over any futures that we may be looking at this time. But first, we're going to start just by kind of going over last weekend, going over some of the bets that we may or may not have hit, just kind of overall thoughts on the tournament. But I'm going to throw it to you. I know you spent most of your weekend up in Connecticut in a sports book. So first, even before we get into that, I've not been in a sports book for March Madness. How was the experience? I guess just how was your weekend overall?
Yeah, it was a good weekend, exhausting weekend. We do it every year, me and my buddies, make the trip somewhere and watch all the games. It's a great time. Unfortunately, it's a lot of money, a lot of drinks, a lot of hangovers. But yeah, it's a great time. I'm excited to do it every single year. Look forward to it. Now that it's done, I'm a little kind of relieved, but also kind of wishing I had something for this upcoming weekend. But yeah, it was a great time. Sportsbook it's a little overwhelming a little bit. There's just so many TV screens. There's betting kiosks, which I automatically go to because I like having a physical ticket in my hand. Did not win a single one, so did not take a trip to the cashier counter. But it's a great time. A lot of TVs. The atmosphere was great. We were there. Which I think the game of the tournament, unfortunately, did not go our way, was that Santa Clara, Kentucky game. I believe me and you were both on Santa Clara in that game. But yeah, three-pointer with 4 seconds left, and then a three-pointer of Kentucky to send it to overtime. Bank shot, the shot that, UConn in, what was that, 2008 or 2012, Butler wished that they had, went in. But so the sportsbook atmosphere there was great. But yeah, besides that, pretty chalky. I know what we talked about it, like you said, on Twitter quite a bit. I think we're getting done to the double-digit seeds, or honestly the mid-majors making it to the second weekend. I know Texas is in as an 11 seed, but Texas SEC school, SEC school. We got Iowa upset Florida, which is our first one seed out. But again, Iowa, Big Ten school. So I just think we're getting to the time where you're going to get a couple high points here and there. You're going to get a couple, maybe 11 over a 4, a 12 over a 5. But I just think the years of the VCU making the Final Four, the FAU making the Final Four are kind of done, which is a little unfortunate. Does lead up to a great second weekend. We'll talk about the Sweet 16 here in a second. So I'm looking forward to that. But yeah, just the day of the dogs is unfortunately dead. The day of the Cinderellas, I think, is coming to an end, unfortunately.
Yeah, I mean, I'm right there with you. The mid-majors are really the ones that are getting just screwed over here. Like you said, yeah, we have an 11 seed, 9 seed, but they're power conference schools. I mean, Iowa spent a few weeks in the rankings at least. But yeah, it's just, I think it almost breeds a better second round. I think it definitely will breed a better Sweet 16, Elite Eight, Final Four championship. But the first round, that's where all the aura is, in my opinion. That's like when you wake up, you just have butterflies. You can't sleep the night before. You have anxiety to the max because you want to try to fill out as many brackets as possible, get in future bets, handicap every game that's going on. It's just, to me, it's one of, if not the best day of the year, that Thursday of first round. And I think it just lost all of that. I just found myself being fairly bored. It was very hard to find bets. As a fan, I think it was a little bit worse. As a bettor, I just felt like it was very difficult. And I don't think we're alone in feeling that way. But yeah, just kind of, again, I think we're in for a great weekend, like maybe one of the better Sweet 16s that we've seen in recent memory. But I was just looking back at the 2011 bracket. I mean, we had, VCU in the Final Four, 11 seed. We had Butler in the championship, an 8 seed. We had another smaller school that was a 10 seed that was in the Final Four, Elite Eight. Like, those days are gone. I think Texas and Iowa, we'll see what Iowa can do here, but I think Texas is going to be out this week. We'll see if Iowa can make the Elite Eight, but I don't know. It's changing. I don't love the change because, like I said, I love those first Thursday and Friday are just typically magical days. And, maybe if I did better betting, it would have been more fun, but I don't know, just wasn't fully enjoying it.
Yeah, the chalk of Friday with 16-0 to the favorites outright, and I think they're 12-4 against the spread is just, as an underdog better and a guy that roots for dogs, just detrimental. And yeah, one other thing, I'm just so pissed that either Iowa or Nebraska is going to the Elite Eight. I think it's going to be Nebraska. We'll talk about here in a second, but that's just such an easy road for Nebraska. They're going to be hooting and hollering. I think they're going to get absolutely smacked in the Elite Eight game, but just makes sense that a Nebraska team that's kind of been a lot of hype and they've lived up to it a little bit. When it comes to those big games, they do, I think, kind of fall a little bit, but yeah, just unfortunate that that's the matchup we have there. Good for the Big Ten. Also, we have 6 Big Ten teams in the Sweet 16, which I think is a record or tied with a record. So Big Ten's doing well, which is good news for your Spartans, good news for my Wolverines. But yeah, just unfortunate first weekend. Hopefully we can win some more money, win some bets, have some good predictions come Sweet 16 time.
Yeah, like you said, Big Ten. I did want to touch on that too. I think 4 was the previous record, so kind of blew that out of the water. Not only that, but we had a shot with UCLA. Given the Big Ten's a bigger conference now than it was, 3 years ago and before, but had a shot with UCLA. Obviously had Ohio State and Wisconsin both get knocked out in the first round. Had a shot with another Big Ten team yesterday. I can't remember now which other one got bounced, but yeah, there was there still is a legitimate chance that we could end up with a Purdue, Michigan versus Michigan State, Iowa, Nebraska, Illinois Final Four, which would be just absolutely insane. I don't think that's going to happen, but it's definitely possible. So that'd be nuts. Michigan State championship. I have a bracket with it. We'll see if it happens, but obviously State would win. But before we get into kind of filling out the bracket from this point on, I just want to see from a betting aspect. I know it wasn't the best weekend for either of us, but any like tough beats that you had, and then I guess end it with a positive, like do you have any big wins, or I guess I know it wasn't great, but like how was your betting?
Yeah, Santa Clara is probably up there for my worst beat of the tournament. Yeah, it was a great game, like I said, best game of March in my opinion. But that was unfortunate. They hit the game to go up by 3 or 4 seconds left. Kentucky banks it in. Kentucky wins it in overtime. Phenomenal game, just didn't go my way. In regards to big wins, I was on High Point, did not take a money line, but I did have that underdog on the spread. Really wish I took a couple more first half bets or first half spreads because TCU and Duke was close at the first half mark. Hofstra was leading Bama for a long time in that first half. I was on Hofstra money line. They fell apart at the end. And it just, some word of advice for myself for future episodes and future March Madnesses, just stop betting the over. The over's not going to hit. Like I got too saturated betting the over here. It's neutral court, new lights, defense is elevated, nerves are up. Did not have a great betting weekend with the overs. To be optimistic, I am liking, we'll talk about it here in a second, but I am liking Michigan's chances to advance here and to eventually make it to the Final Four. I think they got a decent draw. I'm a little scared of Iowa State, but I could see Tennessee winning that game too. In regards to the rest of the bracket, Big Ten hasn't won since 2000. Your Spartans back in 2000, so we set ourselves up pretty nicely with a Big Ten team in each region. Is it going to happen? The odds are in our favor, but I would love for a Big Ten team to win, specifically Michigan. But that's an optimistic thing. Looking forward is just the excellence of the Big Ten, and maybe we can break that streak of non-Big Ten team winning.
Yeah, I do like the Big Ten's chances. I think the Big Ten has proven themselves to be the best conference this season in college basketball. So I do, as a Big Ten guy, I appreciate that. But yeah, some of my, Thursday was just as tough as it gets for me. Honestly, I held off betting TCU right away. I was just a little bit timid going in, and told myself it was going to be a chalk tournament, which it has been, and I still found a way to not do that great. But leans just killed it early. My one win was Louisville minus 3.5, which I know you had the 4.5, which was a terrible beat. But even though I won that bet, the fact that I even had to sweat down the stretch was just, kind of gave me some gray hairs. And then, got really cocky, confident going into the later slate. Thought, I just went 5-3 or 6-2 on my leans. I'm just going to unload 0-4 in the next one. So that really hurt. North Carolina being one of those on the money line. That was terrible. Michigan minus 30.5 had no shot at halftime, then ends up going up by like 33. Thought I had a chance, and then blew that late. But I guess just another tough one. UCLA minus 5.5 was a tough way to lose. Some of the better ones, though, I did have 3 of the 4 9 seeds on the money line. I didn't have TCU, like I mentioned, but in our 8-9 video, gave out all the 9 seeds. So, those coin flip games actually worked out pretty well for me. I said in our video that I probably wasn't going to bet any of them, bet 3 of them and won. I had Duke minus 11.5 against TCU, which was just a dominant last 10 minutes. That one was nice to get through. Needed one like that. And then my big one, I've cashed on Tennessee pretty big. I had 4 units on them yesterday on the money line. Had 1 unit on them minus the spread against Miami, Ohio. So thanks to you for that, by the way. I was done betting, and then you texted me that it had to be Tennessee. They were the play. So thankfully got there with them. But yeah, Tennessee is kind of my team I'm going to ride here getting into it. But yeah, those were some highs and lows from this past weekend. But let's look ahead. Hopefully better weekend betting overall from both of us moving forward. But haven't really talked about how we're going to go through this bracket. But do you just want to kind of go through who you think makes it to the Elite Eight?
Yeah, we'll go through gut picks if you want. Right now, we'll come up with a video later in the week giving our official picks all the way to the championship game for the Sweet 16. Nice, short, sweet videos for our predictions there. But yeah, I'll just go gut picks for Sweet 16. My gut's telling me Duke. My gut is telling me, unfortunately, Michigan State. Hopefully, I'm wrong there. I am a Michigan State hater. I apologize. But guts tell me Michigan State. Gut is telling me Nebraska big. And then gut is telling me in probably the game of the weekend, Illinois-Houston is going to be Houston getting the win over the powerhouse offense of Illinois there. Arizona, Arkansas. I got to go with my gut. I went in with the season or to the tournament thinking Arizona is the best team. Did not like how they finished against Utah State, who I'm not super high on, but I will take Arizona over Arkansas. Would not be surprised if Purdue loses, but I'll have Purdue beating Texas. I have Michigan, biggest spread of the weekend after Texas just beat, Alabama just beat Texas Tech by 25 points, something like that. And then they give Michigan the biggest spread. So I will take Michigan in that game. And then Tennessee, Iowa State. It kind of feels like it's going to be Michigan versus Iowa State, but Tennessee, man, they're also a team that I don't think has made it past the Sweet 16 and God knows when, but screw it. I'll take Iowa State. It just seems like it's going to be Michigan, Iowa State in that Elite Eight matchup. So again, quick recap: Duke, Michigan State, Nebraska, Houston, Zona, Purdue, Michigan, Iowa State for me.
Yeah, we're pretty close here. I'm going to take Duke over St. John's, although I do think that could be a game. If Cam Boozer plays the way he did the final 10 minutes for Duke, they're going to be very hard to stop. But, man, he was so he didn't look like he cared that much the first 30 minutes of that game. So we'll see what we get. St. John's have underestimated them all year long. They're actually pretty good. So, although they took a buzzer beater to win yesterday. But I'll take Duke. I'll take Michigan State as well. That is more of a homer pick than it is. That's to me a true coin flip. It could go either way. I think there's a few matchup problems there for Michigan State, but I think Izzo can get a good game plan for them. So I'll take State there. I'm going to take Iowa over Nebraska here. I just think I've mentioned all year long that Iowa's a fraud. I watched them play in person this year. State smoked them by, I think, 19 points. And yesterday they win with Bennett Sturts laying an egg. But it's a third game of the season for these two teams. Iowa wins the first one. Nebraska gets them in overtime the second time around, final game of the season. I just think Iowa has the three-point shooting, which Nebraska does too. But I'll take a stab with Iowa here in a coin flip. I also like Houston a lot in that game against Illinois. I think they get by. Like Arizona, think they're still one of the best teams in the country. I was high on Arkansas coming in, but yeah, I don't know. I think Arizona advances. I like Purdue over Texas, probably pretty big. If Bama shoots the way they did last night, goodbye Michigan, goodbye the rest of the teams. They're not getting beat, but very hard to keep up. We've seen Alabama do this year after year. Michigan probably gets it done in that game, but like I said, if they're shooting 50% from three, I mean, maybe not. And then I like Tennessee. I'm going to just keep riding the Tennessee train, playing with house money at this point. So I think the best thing, though, is, they kind of controlled that game early and really late into the game, gave up a late lead with 2 minutes left. And I think when you get that scare and then you still kind of come out on top, I think you're really focused going into the next one. So I'll take Tennessee to advance over Iowa State.
Yeah, like I said, we'll have our full predictions later in the week as we approach Thursday. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Again, I don't know how I'm going to bet it, man. I really don't. I feels like I should just get super safe and just take money lines. Like I can't trust these spreads anymore, especially like the 6.5, the 7.5s. Michigan have the 10.5. That is an absolute joke, by the way. Also, if you guys can bet player props, just take, I think it's Phylon for Alabama. Just take them 20 plus points. Michigan loves just, how much did freaking Avila or whatever have for St. Louis? How much did in the first half, whatever his face have for Howard? I mean, they hit 10 threes in the first. Like Michigan is in a dangerous road here if they don't want to guard the 3-point line. So if you bet player props, honestly, just take Alabama's second or third or fourth or highest leading scores, take them over points. 2 of those will hit. But yeah, it's tricky. Again, like I said, we'll have our better bets and more in-depth predictions later in the week. But yeah, good start. Looking forward to it. We'll have some more content out later for sure.
Yeah, definitely. And like you said, we'll, break down the Elite Eight from there, or predictions for our Elite Eight, Final Four championship. Yeah, 2 things I just have to quick mention you brought to my attention. It's the big spreads that's giving me so much trouble here in this tournament. Like, there's no way I'm laying 10.5 with Michigan, but do I really want to go against Michigan? Not whatsoever. So, and we've gotten this basically all the favorites were double-digit favorites in the first round, outside of a few 8-9s, 7-10s. So that was really difficult. In 3 years, are we going to have every 8 seed favored by 10 points? Like, it's just, getting kind of out of control. But I would also be remiss if we do not quickly talk about what the hell Florida was doing. Just letting Iowa have the open shot for the win. I straight up have no idea why you would press in that situation. I get they had, 9 seconds to score, but as the number 1 seed, as the team that, is superior, you would think you would be okay giving up a layup and then, taking your shot with 5 extra minutes in overtime, just thinking you're the better team. I just cannot believe they let them get an open look at 3. That's a good 3-point shooting team.
All the attention on Sturch there, and then not even a soul. Like, there wasn't even a guy on that side of the paint on that corner 3.
No. And Sturch hadn't hit a 3 all game.
Yeah. I saw that the Florida coach said he was trying to foul or something. Did not look like that to me.
Well, why the hell would you do that?
I don't know. He said that maybe we have the ball in our hands for a chance to win, or I don't know. Like, it was terrible. Terrible.
It was terrible.
Also, if we're going to talk about the buzzer beaters, like, I understood why Kansas was fouling, but then 6 seconds left, you let a guy, without even crossing over, drive all the way to the lane, hit. It was contested, but you hit a layup. Like, at least make them do a fadeaway shot.
Right.
That was crazy to me.
Right. Yeah. I'm still. I had every 1 seed to go to the Sweet 16, so I'm salty over Florida, but I just couldn't. Take your shot in overtime.
Yeah.
Just guard the perimeter. If someone blows by you, you get maybe 2 seconds to get a half-court shot up, and you play for overtime. Like, you can't let them beat you from 3. I just can't even believe it. But last thing we'll quickly just touch on here. I don't have a ton, but do you have any futures that right now that have kind of sparked your interest? Or
yeah, to be honest, I have no idea who's going to win it. I'm very high on Houston. I'm very high. They're stacked. They're absolutely stacked. Their guard plays crazy. They have another 6'8" power forward that's disgusting physically wise. So I really like Houston, honestly, to make the championship game. I'm still high on Arizona, but now after watching them, I think if Michigan gets them, they can make a little bit of a battle there. They really only have Pete and Barry's there, or whatever his name is. Their big guy last night sucked, and he was the guy scaring me all year. So I think Michigan actually matches up pretty well against Arizona. So if it is that situation, I kind of like Houston, Michigan, and then have a low-scoring barn burner national championship game where hopefully Michigan gets it done. But if I had to pick a team to win it right now, I'd take Houston.
Yeah, I like that play. Yeah, like you said, with Duke, Arizona, and Michigan basically all being priced similarly, shorter than 4-1. I just don't know that there's any value taking either of those three. Obviously, made for you, Michigan, just as a homer pick. But yeah, I think you kind of have to look outside of that realm at this point. So I like your Houston play. That's actually probably the strongest feature I have right now. Houston to make the Final Four, you can get plus 130. I love that bet. I think they get past Illinois. I think they're way more physical than Nebraska or Iowa. And one of those teams is going to have to hit just an absurd amount of threes, I think, to beat Houston. And Houston's a pretty good three-point shooting team as well. So I really like Houston to get to the Final Four. Honestly, should they have been the 1 seed in that conference? Probably. Or in that region, I mean. But yeah, I like Houston. That's my favorite. I do have a few futures that I'm writing. I always take Michigan State preseason, so I have 40-1 on Sparty. I do have UConn, which I don't feel great about, but a little future on UConn. And then I did take Tennessee to make the Final Four, so really hoping that one gets there. Of course, that would knock your boys out, but yeah, just kind of riding the Tennessee train at this point. But we'll see what happens. I probably will bet Houston to make the Final Four.
Is Iowa State still? Are they going to be without their four guy?
Okay. I don't think that's confirmed, but didn't look good.
Okay. And then one last thing, I really like. I would like a Big Ten national championship game. I would really dislike an Arizona-Houston national championship game. I know these two. It would be great for the Big 12, but these two teams have played, I think, 2 or 3 times now. Houston or Arizona's taken care of them both times. Just don't want to see that one, and that's a very easy 2 teams to pick in a championship game. I just don't want to see that one. I'd rather see Houston play another out-of-conference team. That's the only thing I really don't want to happen. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I think Duke's very beatable. The more I watch them, I'm just not super sold. It's Boozer. His brother went off in round 1 after they were getting destroyed majority of that game. I'm just not sold on Duke right now. So I don't think Duke's making the Final Four. Yeah, hopefully for the sake of what I want, Michigan, Houston, I'd love to see that matchup.
Well, I just read between the lines. You have Duke versus Michigan State, and you don't think Duke's making the Final Four. So that's all I need to hear. But that will do it for I'm just going to end on that note. That will wrap it for this episode of Getting Technical. Like Wyatt said, we will be back later this week, probably Wednesday, with more in-depth betting predictions for the Sweet 16 and then kind of a more in-depth bracket breakdown all the way to the championship game. But Wyatt, any last thoughts before we get out of here?
Nope. Make sure you guys do follow along. We'll have some more March Madness content for you guys. Hopefully you guys are getting some rest between now and Thursday. I know it was an exhausting weekend for us, probably for you guys as well. So get some rest, come back hopefully with me or for me with a more positive attitude for the Sweet 16. But yeah, very looking much forward to the end of this tournament.
Yeah, I am right there with you. Guys, thank you as always for watching. Not only will we be back with college basketball, but we'll be back with golf, I believe, this week. It's a smaller tournament, but just so much going on with March Madness last week. We skipped over the Valspar, but might be back with golf. We have MLB opening day on, I guess, Thursday. Technically, we have 1 game Wednesday, but might get in some opening day content. We'll see how that goes. But yeah, stay tuned at our channel, Better and Green. Really appreciate you guys watching. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, drop us a comment down below. Let us know your national championship pick. And until next time, we'll see you for another episode of Getting Technical, brought to you by Better and Green.
Welcome to Better and Green, eh? To Better and Green, eh? To Better and Green, eh? Listen in and cash out, that's what it's all about. Come on, let's make cash now. We always on spot and we cover all spot from the bottom to the top, eh? Shout out to Ethan, shout out to Wyatt, shout out to Ben. Welcome to our podcast, Better and Green.